Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speak and Feel English. This is a place where conversations are not only about learning English, but also about understanding life in a deeper and more meaningful way. I am Mia, and today I am joined by my co-host, Ethan. In today's episode, we're going to discuss a topic that is extremely important for everyone, regardless of age or background. The topic is don't waste your life. Many people go through their daily routines without truly thinking about how valuable their time actually is. They wake up, go through the same patterns, and sometimes forget that life itself is a limited opportunity. Ethan, what are your thoughts when you hear the phrase, don't waste your life?
Thank you, Mia. When I hear that phrase, the first thought that comes to my mind is how easily people underestimate the value of time. Every single day we are given 24 hours, and yet many people spend those hours doing things that bring them neither growth nor happiness. They delay their dreams, postpone important decisions, and convince themselves that they will start living seriously tomorrow. However, tomorrow has a strange habit of never arriving. Life slowly moves forward while people remain stuck in hesitation. For me, wasting life is not only about doing nothing, it is also about ignoring opportunities, avoiding personal growth, and living without clear purpose.
That is such an important point. Many people assume that wasting life only means being lazy or inactive, but it is much deeper than that. Someone can be extremely busy every day and still be wasting their life. Imagine a person who spends years working in a career that they truly dislike, yet they never attempt to change their situation because they are afraid of failure or uncertainty. From the outside, it may look like they are productive, but internally they might feel empty and disconnected from their real potential. This is why understanding the difference between activity and purpose is essential.
Exactly. Activity alone does not equal fulfillment. A person can have a full schedule, numerous responsibilities, and endless tasks, but if none of those things align with their personal values or long-term goals, they may still feel like their life is slipping away. One of the biggest reasons people waste their lives is fear. Fear of judgment, fear of making mistakes, and fear of stepping outside familiar comfort zones can prevent individuals from exploring their real capabilities. Over time, that fear quietly becomes a barrier between people and the lives they truly want.
Fear is definitely a powerful factor. Another common reason people waste their lives is distraction. In the modern world, distractions exist everywhere. People can spend hours scrolling through content, watching endless entertainment, or comparing themselves to others instead of focusing on their own personal journey. While occasional relaxation is healthy and necessary, excessive distraction slowly steals time that could have been invested in learning new skills, building relationships, or pursuing meaningful ambitions.
That is very true. Distractions can be subtle because they often feel harmless in the moment. For example, someone might say, I will watch just one video, or I will spend only a few minutes checking something online. But those minutes often turn into hours. When this pattern repeats day after day, months and even years can pass without noticeable progress. People suddenly realize that time has moved much faster than they expected.
And that realization can be quite shocking. Many individuals reach a moment in life where they suddenly reflect on their past and ask themselves whether they truly lived with intention. Did they follow their passions? Did they invest in personal growth? Did they spend meaningful time with the people who mattered to them? These questions often appear when people recognize that time is more limited than they once believed.
Yes, and that is why awareness is the first step toward change. When someone begins to understand the true value of their time, their priorities start shifting naturally. They begin to focus more on learning, improving themselves, and building experiences that actually matter. Instead of simply passing time, they begin to use time wisely.
Exactly. Life becomes much more meaningful when people start living with intention rather than simply reacting to circumstances. Recognizing that life should not be wasted is the beginning of a powerful transformation. We talked about how easily people can lose valuable time because of fear, distraction, and a lack of clear purpose. I think one important thing to discuss now is the idea that many people are not even aware that they are wasting their lives. They assume everything is fine simply because they are following routines that society considers normal. They wake up, complete their responsibilities, and repeat the same cycle again and again. However, living on autopilot can prevent individuals from discovering what they are truly capable of achieving.
That is a powerful observation. Living on autopilot is one of the most common reasons people feel stuck in life. When routines become automatic, people stop questioning whether those routines are actually helping them grow. For example, someone might spend years doing the same work, maintaining the same habits, and avoiding new challenges. There's nothing wrong with stability, but if stability turns into stagnation, it can limit personal development. Growth often requires curiosity and the willingness to step outside familiar patterns.
Absolutely. Curiosity plays a very important role in a meaningful life. When people remain curious, they continue learning, exploring, and evolving. But when curiosity disappears, life can become repetitive and uninspiring. Many successful individuals emphasize the importance of constantly asking questions, trying new experiences, and seeking knowledge. These actions not only improve skills, but also keep the mind active and open to new opportunities.
Another factor that contributes to wasting life is the habit of postponing meaningful goals. People frequently say things like, I will start pursuing my dream next year, or I will focus on my personal goals when the timing becomes perfect. Unfortunately, perfect timing rarely exists. Life is full of uncertainties, and waiting for ideal conditions can become an endless excuse. The longer people delay their ambitions, the more difficult it becomes to take that first step.
That is very true. Sometimes people also underestimate how small actions can lead to significant change over time. They imagine that achieving something meaningful requires a dramatic transformation overnight. But in reality, progress often begins with small and consistent efforts. Reading a few pages every day, learning a new skill gradually, or dedicating a short period of time to personal goals can create powerful momentum in the long run.
Consistency truly is one of the most underestimated qualities of successful individuals. People often admire the final achievements of others, but they rarely see the years of consistent effort behind those accomplishments. A person who spends even 30 minutes every day improving their knowledge or skills will eventually develop expertise that sets them apart. When someone uses time intentionally like that, life begins to feel purposeful instead of random.
And I think purpose is one of the most important elements of a fulfilling life. When people understand why they're doing something, their motivation becomes stronger. Purpose provides direction, and direction prevents time from being wasted. Without purpose, people often drift from one activity to another without feeling satisfied or proud of how they spend their time.
Exactly. Purpose does not have to be something extraordinary or complicated either. For some individuals, purpose might involve building meaningful relationships, contributing to their community, or developing their talents. For others, it might involve creativity, innovation, or helping others grow. The important thing is that a person feels connected to what they are doing.
And once that connection exists, life starts to feel more intentional and rewarding. Instead of asking, how can I pass the time today? People begin asking a much more powerful question. How can I use my time in a way that truly matters? I think another important reason people waste their lives is comparison. Many individuals constantly compare their progress, achievements, and lifestyles with those of others. This habit can create frustration, insecurity, and even a sense of failure. When people become too focused on what others are doing, they often lose sight of their own path. Instead of building their own journey, they start measuring their value based on someone else's timeline.
That is a very important point. Comparison can be extremely damaging when it becomes constant. Every individual has different circumstances, abilities, and opportunities. When people compare themselves unfairly, they often feel discouraged and may stop trying altogether. For example, someone might see another person achieving success quickly and assume that they themselves are behind in life. But what they do not see are the unique challenges and efforts behind that success.
Exactly. Life is not a race where everyone starts from the same position or moves at the same speed. Each person has their own experiences, strengths, and lessons to learn. When people become obsessed with comparison, they waste valuable energy that could have been used to improve themselves. Instead of learning new skills or pursuing meaningful goals, they spend their time worrying about whether they are ahead or behind someone else.
Another issue related to wasting life is the fear of making mistakes. Many people avoid taking action because they want everything to be perfect from the beginning. They hesitate to start a project, pursue an idea, or try something new because they worry about failing. However, avoiding mistakes often leads to something even worse, which is never trying at all.
That is so true. Mistakes are actually one of the most powerful teachers in life. When people try something and it does not work out the way they expected, they gain valuable knowledge and experience. Those lessons can guide them toward better decisions in the future. But when people refuse to act because they fear failure, they miss opportunities to grow and develop confidence.
In fact, many successful individuals often say that their greatest achievements were built on the lessons they learned from failure. Every mistake helped them understand what worked and what did not. Instead of viewing failure as a final defeat, they treated it as feedback. This mindset allows people to keep moving forward instead of becoming stuck in disappointment.
I think another aspect worth discussing is the importance of self-reflection. When people regularly reflect on their actions, goals, and habits, they become more aware of how they're spending their time. Self-reflection helps individuals ask important questions, such as, am I moving toward the life I want? Or are my daily habits supporting my long-term goals? Without reflection, it becomes very easy to drift through life without direction.
Yes, reflection creates awareness, and awareness leads to better decisions. When someone takes time to evaluate their priorities, they often discover areas where they can improve. Maybe they realize they are spending too much time on distractions, or perhaps they recognize that they have been ignoring an important dream. These realizations can inspire meaningful changes.
And those changes do not have to be dramatic. Sometimes a small shift in mindset can make a huge difference. When people start valuing their time more deeply, they begin choosing activities that contribute to growth, knowledge, and meaningful experiences.
Exactly. Life becomes far more fulfilling when people focus less on comparison and fear and more on learning, improving, and creating a path that truly belongs to them.
I think it is also important to talk about how habits shape the direction of our lives. Many people assume that life changes only through big decisions, but in reality, daily habits quietly determine our future. The small actions we repeat every day gradually build the life we experience. If someone consistently spends time learning, improving their mindset, and working toward meaningful goals, their life will slowly move in a positive direction. On the other hand, if someone constantly chooses comfort, distraction, and procrastination, those habits will also accumulate over time.
That is absolutely correct. Habits may seem small in the moment, but their long-term impact is incredibly powerful. Imagine two individuals who start from similar situations.
One person decides to spend a small amount of time every day reading, practicing a skill, or improving their knowledge. The other person chooses to spend those same hours on activities that offer only temporary entertainment. At first, the difference between them might not be noticeable. However, after months and years, their lives could look completely different.
Exactly. The difference becomes visible only after time has passed. This is why people should never underestimate the importance of consistency. Even a small effort repeated regularly can create remarkable results.
Many people wait for motivation before they take action, but motivation is often unreliable. Some days people feel inspired, while other days they feel tired or distracted. Habits solve this problem because they create structure and discipline regardless of temporary emotions.
That is a great point. Discipline allows people to continue progressing even when motivation disappears. It helps individuals stay focused on their long-term vision instead of temporary feelings. People who develop strong habits understand that success is not about occasional bursts of effort. It is about steady progress over time.
Another important element of not wasting life is the value of meaningful relationships. Sometimes people become so focused on work or personal ambitions that they forget the importance of human connection. However, relationships with family, friends, and supportive communities add depth and joy to life. Success without meaningful relationships often feels empty.
I completely agree. When people reflect on their lives later on, they rarely regret spending time with the people they care about. Instead, they often regret the moments they missed because they were too busy or distracted. Meaningful conversations, shared experiences, and supportive friendships are some of the most valuable aspects of life.
That balance is essential. Pursuing personal growth and professional success is important, but life should also include moments of connection, gratitude, and appreciation. These experiences remind us why our time is valuable in the first place.
Exactly. When people combine personal growth with meaningful relationships, life becomes richer and more fulfilling. Instead of feeling like time is simply passing by, they feel that each day contributes to something meaningful. As we reach the final part of our conversation, it is important to reflect on one central idea. Life is one of the most valuable opportunities we are given. Every day offers new possibilities, yet many people underestimate how quickly time moves forward. Years can pass in what feels like a short moment, and suddenly people begin wondering where all that time went. This realization often encourages individuals to rethink how they are living and what truly matters to them.
Yes, that realization can be very powerful. When people understand that time is limited, they begin to see life from a different perspective. They stop postponing important goals and they start focusing on actions that truly matter. Instead of waiting for the perfect circumstances, they begin using the present moment to create meaningful change.
And meaningful change does not always require dramatic actions. Sometimes it begins with a simple decision to value time more deeply. For example, someone might decide to spend less time on distractions and more time developing skills, reading, learning, or building something meaningful. These choices may seem small at first, but they gradually shape the direction of life.
Another powerful step is surrounding yourself with people who encourage growth and positivity. The environment around us influences our mindset more than we often realize. When individuals spend time with people who are motivated, curious, and supportive, they naturally begin adopting similar attitudes. Positive environments inspire progress and help people stay focused on their goals.
That is such an important insight. Our surroundings can either push us forward or hold us back. Choosing supportive communities and constructive influences can make it much easier to stay motivated and continue improving. Life becomes far more meaningful when people support each other's growth.
Ultimately, not wasting life comes down to awareness and intention. When people become aware of how precious their time is, they begin living more intentionally. They choose actions that align with their values, pursue experiences that help them grow, and invest their energy into things that truly matter.
And that intentional approach transforms everyday life. Instead of simply moving through routines without thinking, people start making conscious choices about how they spend their time and energy. They become creators of their own paths, rather than passive observers of circumstances.
Exactly. Life becomes much more meaningful when people realize that every day is an opportunity to learn, improve, and contribute something valuable to the world around them.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to today's conversation on Speak and Feel English. If you enjoyed this discussion and want to hear more meaningful conversations that help you improve your English while exploring important life topics, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay connected for future podcast episodes.